All you need to know to start your day. Power Breakfast on Power 98.7.
The time is 6:22, ending off Child Protection Week this week, looking into the story of Joshlin Smith, the missing Joshlin Smith. Bianca van Aswegen, National Coordinator for Missing Children SA, joins us once again this week. We already had a conversation with Bianca just generally about how we are faring in terms of missing people and missing children this week. But Bianca, of course, a deep dive into the story of Joshlin Smith, given that yesterday we saw that the three people who've now been convicted of her kidnapping have gotten a life sentence. Bianca, is that a usual occurrence?
Good morning. Well, it depends on the cases that we deal with, what the judgment will be, the conviction, and then the sentencing. And yes, yesterday's sentencing is a great win for us, but I think it still leaves the nation with the question of where is Joshlin?
And what does that really mean in this moment? Do you have any hope that this conviction and now sentencing will get us any closer to the truth?
We were hoping that one of the accused would have stood up, especially during the mitigation part of the court case, and give some answers, because I think we've got more questions than answers at the moment. But even though they've been sentenced now and there'll be life imprisonment has given to them, we as an organization, SAPS, and everyone else is not giving up on Joshlin. There is always hope in a missing persons case. If a body has not been found, there's always hope. We've even got cases of children dating back to the 1980s that we've never given up on. So Joshlin is just one of those that we'll never give up on. Everything possible will still be done to help and find her.
And what does that entail, and how does the public get involved with that, Bianca? One would assume that it's the people who are now convicted of that kidnapping who would have the most information. Is there any other set of leads that can be followed outside of them?
Unfortunately, cases like this, what we call them, they get to a point where we kind of not have any leads, so we call it a cold case. But the flyer will be reshared from our side. We will share it worldwide, as we've already done, actually. So if any leads do come in, we give it through to the police. They follow up on it. And I'm sure the police are also still investigating, hoping for leads. But physical searches is kind of taking a back step at the moment, because it's not a child that has just gone missing. So it is a year and 4 months later, and it's really hopeful that we will find or get some leads that we can actually follow up to help and find Joshlin.
And you were saying this is quite a big win for people who are working in the space around missing children. When it comes to sentencing in these cases, what are some of the factors that lead to lighter sentences or harsher sentences? And also, how does the court determine whether somebody, should get any kind of mitigation? And I want to ask this, Bianca, in the context of what we've just been learning around the Olorato case, that the syndicate that's being investigated, two of those men in as early as April were actually arrested for kidnapping and granted bail. And I thought, granting bail for somebody who's arrested for kidnapping sounds strange to me. Are there parameters around which the law is more or less lenient when it comes to people who are arrested for kidnapping?
I'm not a law expert, so I can't give you the exact facts on this. But yes, in the case of, for instance, for Joshlin, the minimum sentence on human trafficking is life. And that is the sentence that we got yesterday. So that is a step in the right direction for us, especially when it comes to human trafficking, as we don't see a lot of cases of human trafficking being prosecuted. In the cases of kidnapping, I really won't be able to answer you why those men actually got bail. It's quite shocking. And now we're sitting with a murder that happened due to the fact of them getting bail and being out there. I think we've got a lot of perpetrators walking our streets. We don't know they're out on bail, for instance. They might be out on parole already after serving a sentence. It really is something that we should just be vigilant about. We don't know who these people are, but this is also where safety plays an absolute priority in our lives, especially with our children.
All right then, Bianca. So the case stays open on your side as missing children in South Africa. Is that the same, and will that still be true for the police?
Yes, definitely. So a missing persons case never closes until a body or the person has been found.
Okay.
So a missing persons case never closes, and that is why we as an organization still look at all alcohol cases. We refeature them quite often to make sure that the awareness is created about those cases and that those children are never forgotten.
Well, thank you so much. That's Bianca van Aswegen, National Coordinator for Missing Children in SA, just giving us an update there on the Joshlin Smith case. In the 8 o'clock hour, we will be speaking to the grandmother of Joshlin Smith about how the family feel about the sentencing and the way forward.